What I have in this box, I think, is probably the single most disgusting original Xbox I have ever seen. The dirt on this thing is crazy. And I don't know if it works or even if we can get it clean. But that's what we're doing today on Tech Guy Life. Okay, where do we begin? Oh, I know. Gloves. Yeah, this one is definitely going to need some gloves. I don't know where this was stored. I don't know the story behind it, other than the fact it was given to me and was told, hey, this is so dirty, it would probably make a good video. And that's where we are today. So let's see, we got 4 controllers in here. This one here is I think it's supposed to be blue. But yeah, the dirt on there is just caked on. So there's that controller. There's another black controller, which looks like it has something on there. I don't know if that's mold or not, but that's why we got gloves. And this one is pretty beat up. The sticks are all broken, and it is super dirty as well. And then this one is supposed to be clear, but we'll see what we can do with it. And then there's the console itself. So looks like we've got a lot of dirt in the ports, a lot of dirt on the casing itself, and looks like a DVD remote module. Let's get the outside cleaned off and we'll go from there. All right, so it actually cleaned up okay. There's still some more niggly stuff to do, but I think I'll have to take the lid apart, and we're going to have to take everything apart in order to get this thing spick and span. But before we go into that type of effort, we should find out if it even turns on. So I've got it hooked up to AV on my video capture. Let's plug in some power. All right, power is plugged in. Let's see if she turns on. Unbelievable. Well, color me shocked. I thought with the amount of grime and the dirt that was on this thing that it would have been exposed to a bunch of moisture, and I didn't think it was actually even going to fire up. But let's open it up then, and we'll find out what's inside. Actually, one thing I gotta check: does the CD drive open? That looks like a big negatory. So I removed the 6 Torx T20 screws at the bottom of the Xbox. So in case you need a refresher, there's one under each foot, and then there's one under this sticker and one under this sticker, which at this point in the Xbox's age, I don't care about saving the stickers. Well, it's not too bad on the inside, actually. It's just a lot of the dirt is on a lot of the sections that were exposed to the outside. So like there's a lot of dirt here and a bunch of dirt on this side. So that's not too bad. So the reason this guy is still living and working the way it is because this is a version 1.6 of the Xbox, of the OG Xbox. The reason why that is important is because they changed the clock capacitor. Anything from 1.5 back to version 1.0, so 2001 through till 2003 and 2004 up till like March-ish, can be a 1.0 to a 1.5. And it had the original clock capacitor, which would just die and leak and ruin everything in Xboxes. So with this one, I'm just going to like vacuum out the inside a little bit, get rid of some of these little cobweb things, and let's see if we can get the DVD drive fixed. I feel like the inside of this drive might be a complete disaster. But then again, I thought the inside of the Xbox was going to be a complete disaster, and it was fine. All right, place your bets. Well, there's a free game. I got another copy of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. That's really scratched. Take the bottom off too. Well, it's definitely not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Like, honestly, there's some dirt, but I've seen way worse. Now, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a whole bunch of like jabby, stabbed scratch marks on the edge of the tray, which tells me that the tray stopped opening a long time ago, and they were trying to jab it to get it open. And that clearly didn't work. So I wonder if it's just the belt that needs to be replaced. So typically I wasn't recording, but I went to manually eject the tray, which is in the front. There's a little white little tab you push back with a pointy thing, and then you can pull the tray open. Well, when I did that, this popped out, and it's a broken belt. So I know why it's not opening. All right, so I rummaged through my box of belts, and I found this one, and I believe it should be about the right size. When that's put back together and, stretchy and bendy, it should be about this size. So all we got to do is just reach in, get it around the one loop. Oops, dropped it. And there we go. So now let's just clean out the inside of this, lubricate it up, and put it back together and give it a try. All right, first thing, let's just get some cleaning of the little crevices and everything in here. Okay, last but not least, give the laser a little bit of a clean. Just kind of around it, make sure there's no lint. So all we're going to do now is put some new lithium grease on the guide rails here. So I cleaned it off a little bit with the IPA. Doesn't need a whole lot, just needs enough on there to smooth the ride for it. Okay, I got it back together enough to test. Let's just see if the drive ejects. Excellent. I guess not having a belt would really put a hindrance on that. Let's give this copy of Tony Hawk a try and see if it's readable even in its super scratched condition. And let's test out this drive now that we've got it all hooked up. In order to do this, what I did was I took a magnet one time out of an old drive that was no longer working. This is this piece here. And this is what hooks onto the magnet part in here to hold the disc in place while it spins. So the easiest way to do this is to open up the Xbox, put it in, close the tray again, and then turn it off before it starts up. So then we place the magnet on. Now we can turn the system back on again. Ooh, disc isn't working. All right, let's try something else. I'm honestly not surprised. This disc is super scratched. I don't even know if you can see it on there, but man, is it ever scratched up. All right, I got a copy here of Splinter Cell. Let's give that a go. So we put it in, we'll close it up, turn the console off, attach our magnet, and turn her back on again. And she works. Look at that. If the disc isn't scratched all to heck, it works just fine. Well, that's good news. All right, let's shut this off. All right, well, let's get this DVD drive put back together along with the rest of the Xbox. The world's dirtiest Xbox has been put back together, and it looks good. It looks good. A lot of that surface dirt really came off well, although I do see some other little cracks and crevices that I gotta get to. It's not exactly perfect. I'll get to that later. I have broken out the gloves again because we're going to tackle the controllers now. Now that the Xbox is over here working fine, it's time to get to these guys. This controller is supposed to be blue. And it is blue. Wow, this is actually cleaning up way better than I thought. Wow. I gotta say, I'm shocked. I'm shocked at how well this came clean. There's still some residual gunk on there, but for the initial clean, just so we could test it, impressive. Impressive. I'm really, really impressed with how that came out. Okay, here's the clear one. Well, as clear as it's going to be, I think. I wouldn't say that's as crystal as I want it to be, but it's not bad. It actually looks better in the light from the camera lights than it does in person. In the camera lights and on the camera, at least on my monitor screen that I'm seeing, it's very crystal, but it's very yellowy to my eyes. So, but it's not bad. Definitely better than what it was. Finally, the last one is this black one. Nice and clean. So now we've got the 3 controllers. There was a 4th, but it had broken sticks and it was cracked along the bottom like it was open. So I just kind of wiped that one off and I threw it in my Controller Palooza bin for the next episode of Controller Palooza. Maybe we'll do OG Xbox controllers because I think there's a few in there. But these are all clean, so now we got to test them. So now we have to test all these. So what I did was I soft modded the Xbox in order to get an application called Test Launch. And what that does is it gives us a controller tester, essentially. So we can test all of the functions of the gamepad. So we can confirm that the D-pad is working, sticks are working, buttons on the stick are working, back and start work, A, B, Y, all the buttons work over here, and the triggers. So all the buttons are working on here. Crazy. Now we can test the motors. But yeah, motors are all working. So everything on this controller, on the blue one, is working just fine. All right, so we can put the blue one aside. So blue controller, good. Next one to try is the clear controller, or the crystal controller. So let's see, we got all 4 buttons. Black and white buttons are fine. Triggers are fine. D-pad is fine. Back and start, fine. Stick is fine. And stick buttons are fine. All right, let's move on to the motors. Yep, motors are good. This one is good to go too. All right, let's test the black controller and see how it does. So thumbstick, buttons, back and start, D-pad, all 4 of those buttons, black and white, and triggers. Everything's working. And both motors are functioning. So that's 3 for 3 on the controllers and a console that just needed a belt for the DVD drive. Starting out looking like they were supposed to be in the garbage to now a fully functional 3 controller system. May have even been 4 controllers, but one of them looks like it took a hit. That ended up in the controller palooza pile. But I can't believe it. Everything is working perfectly. These all started out looking like absolute garbage, to be blunt. And they've turned into a really nice set. More e-waste saved from the dumpster. Anyway, if you really like this kind of content, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.